The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to 5 in 15, a webinar series from Charleston, Norway, where we promise to give you 5 useful, interesting facts, ideas you can use in your job in marketing, brand building, brand protection within food and agriculture, all within the constraints of a 15-minute webinar, because we know you are busy. I'm Mark Dale, CEO at Charleston, Norway, a 100% employee-owned ESOP. Really important because the work people do here benefits our clients and then it benefits them. So they're very incentivized, every employee, including myself, to do well for our clients. If anything comes up that you don't want to ask during or haven't had time, mark.g@charlestonorway.com. Now you'll see a little chat pane in your window there. You can use that to send us some questions. The first 3 who do, we're talking about synthetic food. I'm going to send you some real food in the form of chocolates from a local chocolate maker here in Wisconsin. And we will send you all of this information with hot links to some of the resources. So you'll have that. But as always, I promise not to bug you. I'll share the information, but I will not bug you. What are we talking about? What the heck are we talking about? What is synthetic food? Well, this link you're going to get on the spoon has a whole bunch of articles you can look to dig in for yourself. And I pulled this from a company called Motif. That's an ingredient supplier in this realm. They say they use engineered microbes like yeast to brew food proteins that can mimic the same ones that give animal products their unique taste and texture. So food's created somewhere. That's one. The other part of this is lab grown, what the industry is now calling cellular agriculture. That's replicating various kinds of cells. It's not as simple as growing a steak because that steak is made up of many different kinds of cells. It's new application of technology, believe it or not, that's been around since 1885. The research, projectable survey with our friend Maeve Webster at Menu Matters, confidential consumer across America, split by gender, a little bit more in the South than the Northeast, but pretty representative of the country. Jumping right into it. These topics are just getting onto America's radar. You can see the line for the Impossible Burger, Beyond Burger, even lab grown, a little bit higher, probably approaching 50% in many areas for Impossible and Beyond. There's been a lot of promotion about them, so that would make sense. If you think back to 3 years when I had my first Impossible Burger at Hop Dottie in Austin, Texas, pretty unknown. When we get into these other categories, synthetic milk and ice cream, cellular agriculture, a term the industry is using, but apparently not consumers. Synthetic wine and whiskey, yes, that's the thing. Not much is known. That's an opportunity, however, for marketers of traditional or new foods. What do you make of it? Points for you to take away today. Americans are skeptical. There are age divisions, something we've seen over and over again in our research. Health concerns, top worries, hunger, animals, environment, lots of drivers, and the continuing rise of the Flexitarian. We're going to talk about that. Well, not so fast, America says, when we bring up these lab-produced synthetic foods and beverages. They're scared. They need to understand more. They want to understand exactly how these products are made, and they want ingredients to be completely transparent. It makes sense when you think about it. I say lab, you think test tubes, white coats, food, kind of something you want to be careful about. Further, if you take that one step down the line and say, now that I've told you about these products, do they have a place within the food industry? Well, on the left-hand side, 44%, no. But on the right-hand side, 22% are saying, yeah, absolutely they do. And another 34% are saying, maybe they do. So there's an emerging awareness that these kinds of things might be part of our food system going forward. Age divide, something we see again and again. I know this is kind of a complex looking chart. Look at the green bar, and to the right of that green bar is more of a golden one, depending upon your monitor. Well, on the right of each of these categories are 18 to 24-year-olds, the left, 65-year-olds. So if you just look at that first one on the left, synthetic wine, 18 to 24 are going to be pretty accepting, extremely likely, very likely, somewhat likely to try. 65 and older, not so much. Thought it was interesting that 65 and older is saying maybe to synthetic whiskey. Cellular agriculture, 18 to 24 are more predisposed. Synthetic vegan milk, same. Ice cream, same. Lab grown meat, same. That's something we've been seeing again and again. A survey just this past May, clean labels. Almost half who say clean label, and I realize, quote unquote, air quotes here, because what does that mean? Well, 35 and under say, half say, yeah, that's a driver. You get up to 55, maybe 30% say it's a driver. You get up to 65, it drops off even further. Another point to consider, however, is these younger audiences. They tell us again and again, these younger audiences are interested in other factors, sustainability, footprint, environmental footprint, ethics of the company providing the food. They put other metrics on their food purchases. So what are your biggest concerns? Health. That first one, long-term health impacts. Come on, we're all thinking the same thing. Is it going to give me cancer? Second, short-term health. Is it okay for me to eat? Is it going to hurt my workout? Am I going to feel good? Impact on the environment. Food will no longer be natural, and food and beverages will be completely processed. I think that last one is pretty interesting, because when you think about it, and there might be those on the webinar here who are part of this, the Impossible Burger, Beyond Burger, other companies who have that, it's a pretty processed food. Well, consumers are somewhat concerned about that. Take it one step further, lab-grown meat, Impossible Burger, comparing something that's a little bit closer in some cases to economic or out there in the marketplace for us. Younger, more predisposed, men slightly more predisposed to try these products. Kind of an interesting dynamic. Big picture drivers. What is driving people? Well, let's go to what the companies are saying. There's this group, Cellular. It's comprised of some companies in that industry, as you might get, cellular agriculture. They say they're going to help save the environment. Perfect Day, the company that's making milk without cows, they're going to make the world a kinder, greener place. Finless, the leader in creating salmon, shrimp, other seafood, cellular agriculture, I'm not going to go through these, a whole list of benefits beyond the food itself or how the food might taste. That's what these companies are saying. If I make a consumer aware of it and ask them what they think the benefits of these things might be, well, they're going to come back and say, could help feed the world, doesn't harm animals, less energy to raise animals. Those two there next to each other. If you look at the messaging from companies, those are repeated by numerous companies, so maybe it's no wonder that consumers are getting that into their heads. Eliminates hunger and reduces global warming. Of course, that one on the far right, we could tie that back to the 1/3 from right, less energy to raise animals. So that's what American consumers are saying might be some of the benefits of these products. But wait a minute, regular food, as we know it, is not going to go away just yet. These products are out there. Let's take one that's in the marketplace, Impossible Beyond Burger. On the left-hand side, 30%, 31%, they're either going to switch or they're going to eat one once in a while, predisposed, but they're not going to get away from beef. They're still going to eat beef. On the lower right there, 17% say, I'm going to use these products to eliminate the beef hamburger. And then you have 22%, however, who say, you know, I was curious, but I'm never having it again. You could argue that those who are sampling these products first are predisposed, so it's probably not surprising that that 17% is saying, I'm going to use this to eliminate beef. It speaks to the rise of the flexitarian. There used to be this debate in the industry, carnivores versus the vegans and vegetarians. Toss that out the window. The conversation now is the flexitarian. And if you read the marketing literature from many of these companies, it's about the flexitarian. People who are incorporating some of these things into their diet. Our friend Rachel Cheatham over at Foodscapes, she does this wonderful global survey of trends in food, plant-based, flexible eating on her list of trends. Doesn't mean the other products are going away. It means that these are out there. So what are we as marketers in food and agriculture, farmers, processors, restaurants, creators of products to do about it? Well, let's take a look at some more of the realities. Consumers are accepting new products. Colleague Jen Arman over at Arctic Apple, genetically modified apple. I realize that's different than the technology we're talking about at the moment. Doesn't brown. It's out there. Consumers are buying it, so there is some acceptance. Perfect Day. I didn't want to send you chocolate for sending in your questions. I wanted to get you to try this ice cream. I wanted to try this ice cream just for the heck of it because I like doing that. Sold out. Couldn't do it. Well, in the venture capital world, that certainly would be proof of concept. But not to worry, meat will not disappear. This from The Economist. You can consult our client and their research CoBank. Global consumption of meat will continue to increase. The really key point here is, along with that increase in meat is going to be an increase in the plant-based protein world. So that's an opportunity, and potentially cellular agriculture, if those products come to market in a commercial way, affordable, which so far they haven't. Last year at this time, all those companies were saying, I will have product in early 2019. So far, we haven't seen it, but we will. And then a final idea I'll leave you with is get ready for some really weird stuff. This company, Solar Foods from Finland, is claiming to synthesize this protein out of carbon dioxide, water, and electricity. I went on it this morning. I said, you know, can I include this slide in the webinar because it might be somebody's big spoof. Looks real, been widely reported. There are going to be a lot of strange ideas out there. So we should get used to that, and it might be interesting. What are we supposed to do about it? Adapt, 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 because these things are out there. The traditional world of agriculture and food as we know it is going to be there, but there are going to be these other technologies as well. How do we fit into that? How do we protect or further my traditional product? How do we do that for the new products? That's the ticket, and that's why we do this research, to help us be smarter. With that, we have just a little bit of time and we have questions, so I'm going to jump into those. Will any of these slides be shared? Janine, yes, we will share them. I'm going to send all this with you. We'll have embedded links, so not to worry about that. Why do we see resistance to genetically engineered GMO crops, but people are curious about, don't seem to show that same resistance to lab-grown or synthetic foods? Well, Jenna, they might. We don't know where they're going to be. People are afraid of technology. That's a lesson you can take away from the genetically modified, although there's a lot of genetically modified in our food chain, and I think the Arctic apple is a really interesting case study we should look at. These plant-based products should not be called meat because they aren't. How should ranchers prevent that? Well, there's legislation, numerous states, and now there's a bill in Congress just within the last couple of weeks to not be able to call those meat. We'll have to watch and see what happens. To me, a bigger concern is how processed some of these foods are. To take pea or wheat or potato protein and make it into what looks like a hamburger from a distance, that takes a bit of processing, and that's a pretty interesting thing. Another one just came in from Susan here. How do you see the parallel marketing of plant proteins and traditional meat? Can they live together, Aaron? Well, I can tell you that big companies from Cargill to Tyson to Smithfield to whomever are all looking at serving that audience of the flexitarian alternative eaters. Yes, I think they can live together, and they're going to have to live together. And people increasingly are saying, I'm not going to become a vegetarian. I'm not going to become a vegan. But if there's a good tasting, if I go to Qdoba right over the hill from me here, and they have the impossible food, the meat-like substance, if you will, that I can put in my burrito, people might give it a try. We're out of time, everybody, but I'm going to hang on for another minute or so because we have another question. So if you had to sign off, I want to tell you thank you for joining us. Send me a question if you'd like. We're going to forward this information and we'll try to answer one or two more foods. Do you see these trends as niche, like organic foods? Jesus, they're probably not going to serve the whole market, but they are going to serve, when companies like Burger King have them as mainline menu items, yes, they're going to serve a niche market. Right now, it's part of the market. We'll see over the next 20, 30 years, what's really going to be interesting is where they might evolve. Did you see any regional trends among respondents? More acceptance on the coast, for example, Camille. Typically, we do Camille. We'll add this to our list of questions. We'll have Maeve and I will delve into the research and we'll send you that answer. And maybe just one more quick one. How can milk be vegan? Well, that's a darn good question, because I know of vegans who won't eat honey because it's produced with the labor of bees. So then I could guess if you're synthesizing this with microbes of some sort, or should it be vegan or not? I don't know. What it really means is it was not produced by a cow. Whether that product will catch on or not, I don't know. But if you're like me, these things are fascinating. They are going to have an impact on our world, and that's why I want to know about them, and I hope you do too. That's all we really have time for today. There will be a State of a Plate newsletter with this information and a little bit more. When we send you the data from today's webinar, we'll include a link to State of the Plate, and you can take a look at that. For now, thank you so much for joining us for 5 and 15. I'm Mark Gale from Charleston, Norway. Have a good day now.